this project, like we have prepared all the aspects regarding project according to the project requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan is like the Atlantic Insurance Corporation. They want to start a website portal so that they can connect their customers directly with the company, so they can reduce the agency cost.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started the project, like we started with the request of proposal. And in this request for proposal, we have given all the summary background, like what is the reason why they want insurance, like why they want to change the for the whole like other proposal guidelines,
Okay.
and we have given like the scope, like just to get the find out like who will be available in the market to do our project for applications, how to like so we gave all the information because you want me to explain or it's okay to just
Okay, you can go over what all things you have captured. A little bit of explanation, not too detailed, but at a high level.
okay. So mainly request for proposal, what we have given is like I have captured all the points why currently like applications not moving towards website creation.
Okay.
Actually, the reason which according to our requirements is cutting down cost, but more than that, it's the like side by side. Apart from that, like, there is like the demand from people like, they want to use. They expect convenience and on-demand insurance. They want to use web code, which is more convenient rather than traveling or talking to a agent or agency, like filling up paperwork. Like so, everything is like minimized or cut down like time and convenience. Everything is by using website or using like because of the development on smartphones, like anywhere you can access your insurance
Mm-hmm.
and purchase. And it's easy to maintain all the insurance records, like just by signing and logging in like one click. We have all the information and we can see the deadlines, due payments, everything.
Okay.
So that kind of makes it to compete with the competitors. Uh, also saying the like for the monthly subscription for the high net worth individuals who use authentications, they can get like monthly like emails where they can get information about the like current plans or like new plans or any discount or change which they can get use the browser.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole plan. We all the information was captured in this request proposal, and we have given the timelines. So in this mainly are also timelines for all the submissions who's ready and what for
Mm-hmm.
like all the budget
Mm-hmm.
and the bidder qualification we have given information and how the proposal will be evaluated the criteria is
Okay.
and this is all about the request proposal.
Okay, just hang on. Just hang on. Go to that project scope section. Okay, here I see you have mentioned some of the words that shouldn't be there. For example, the following criteria must met to achieve a successful project: visually and aesthetically pleasing website design. I don't think this should ever be, I mean, these sort of sentences should ever be used in any proposal document, because here is where you are starting the, I mean, giving an opportunity to creep the scope. If you don't know, you can leave it, but never ever use such words: user friendly or visually and aesthetically pleasing web design and so on.
No, but this is like we are trying to mention the bidders, right? So they will come up with better designs.
No, even though you are putting it to the bidders, in that case also you can create a concrete documentation wherein you could say that we need our website to comply with certain standards like web 2.0 standards, or we want our website to be based on material design. So there are many, buzzword around which you could use rather than using, visually and aesthetically pleasing website design. So
Okay.
I mean, it conveys a different meaning, I mean, to different stakeholder, and this is the point wherein your stakeholder should start getting confused around what is needed and what needs to be delivered. So this is just one feedback I have. Rest, it's fine. Request for
Okay.
proposal.
Okay. Sure. Thank you so much. I will improve that.
Okay.
And let's move on to the business case which we prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So, business case actually is me and both we both about and also we got help from both Achal and Karan. So I'll start. It's business case like we found the standard template where we created like second like we gave us a summary the reason why
Mm-hmm.
we are creating. And we also tried to capture the like business process, possibly like we just kind of assume like what possible like we analyze all the environmental analysis like how we kind of I actually did a lot of research for this
Mm-hmm.
to find out like how insurance because insurance domain is the only one which actually they took time to evolve and come around to the modern internet thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I have captured like some key points which got to support this business case why we need a website.
Okay.
And we have analyzed the problem of business problems and opportunities. They mentioned how we can make a website where it users can have like the users they can have a very good environment even if someone like a person with senior people when they use they should be how convenient should be with all the chatbots and how they can get there without any much help they should be able to navigate through the website. We capture the business opportunity for this place.
Mm-hmm.
And we have two options. So in the first option, we are going to create this report in the chatbot.
Mm-hmm.
Chatbot is like it's a feature, but we thought that like it's additional feature and as the project proceeds, like the chatbot will be so first option we have financial operations like company customer values, everything,
Mm-hmm.
and the cost and funding plan. We actually approximately calculated this value. I wouldn't say this is perfect, but we can kind of like it makes sense for this.
That's fine.
And we capture all the feasibility like from this. We kind of later discuss actually again also risks and capture the option issues.
Mm-hmm.
We highlighted a few points and assumptions. For option two, so anyway, in websites everything comes with FAQs. That's
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to build than chatbot, but at the same time, chatbot is more. We are now it's seen on all the websites
Mm-hmm.
because frequency FAQs because as it's a new website,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't know much information about how this frequency. As long as the website process, we can't come up with most of the frequency aspects. We can
Okay.
do assumptions, but still like this experience will be improved as the site once it's live and as people start using it and they start asking, giving feedback, and we might able to improve the frequency option.
Okay.
So even for this, we captured all the costs, budgeting, timing, everything.
Okay.
So according to the Atlantic Insurance Initiative one, we actually kind of like we went for option that is more uh, relevant to what they have requested us from the initiative one. And
Mm-hmm.
we have rated and based on the sessions, like majority actually went for option one. So that
Mm-hmm.
we recommend option one to be so this
Okay.
and we have given all the implementation approach, initiation, and we are going to follow agile methodology
Mm-hmm.
and project planning, execution, closure, everything, all the information with duration, timeline, cycles, and how we are going to manage project management. So great information about all the subsections.
Okay. Go to that
Uh,
project plan. Okay. Did you include any kind of a timeline, kind of graph or some pictorial
yes, we
representation?
have. Yeah. So we actually Achal made this project pipeline.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
please
So
increase the
uh,
size of it? I cannot read anything.
uh, if I can share my screen, I can open it in Microsoft Project instead of the screenshot.
Okay, I'll share you.
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so I went through few like life cycle methodologies for like life cycle management for agile methodology basically,
Mm-hmm.
and everywhere I didn't find the phases that are normal to our like requirement planning and all stuff. They use these terms like
Mm-hmm.
what we call, I would say, uh,
Envision.
yeah, envision, speculate, and explore, adapt, and close. Those are the five
Mm-hmm.
terms that they are using for the project. So envision is basically requirement gathering in our case and talking to the people and deciding what they want and all. So I put the first stage as the this one for like 60 days to gather requirements and everything, and the persons or the resources that will be involved are the business analyst, project manager, business user, SME, and the project sponsor, because these are all the people I assume are involved in the requirement planning and all phase.
Okay.
The second phase comes as a speculate in which they do brainstorming and they talk with their teams inside after getting the requirements, how they will be doing dividing the bigger project and how they will start with the work and all stuff. So uh, I considered that for 45 days
Mm-hmm.
uh, the whole planning, how designing and planning will go, and then comes the explore and the adapt phase. So explore and adapt is basically implementation phase, but in explore it's the whole cycle, and adapt is in whole cycle. Every cycle is a iterative cycle in which every thing is done and they adapt how from the previous sprint cycles how the work is. So this particular part shows the single line shows that the whole is an explore cycle, and I have made the adapt cycle as an iterative cycle. In this they have an option of reoccurring tasks,
Mm-hmm.
so I assigned as a sprint cycle for every week. On Monday they will have a sprint cycle, uh, sprint meeting or sprint retrospective, and they will talk upon what is the how what have they completed and the thing in each sprint, what user story is done. And so the main actors are main people that are involved in this will be architect, developer, and quality tester. Obviously for the scrum part there will be business analyst, and maybe if the requirement is we need to talk to business user, and business analyst will talk to business user regarding anything
Mm-hmm.
uh, change or something like. And the last phase is close. I don't know what it is, so I put just 1 day, but I think even maintenance comes under it, but I didn't get enough of it.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask that how do we explain the maintenance phase in this agile life cycle?
So, as I already said you, Agile is essentially, done for new product development, and I already explained you that a product development never ends. So there is no question about, maintaining that particular system.
Okay,
So it would
okay,
go on on a continual basis until they feel a need wherein they should stop the development of that particular product,
okay,
completely retire it.
okay.
So it would be an ongoing
So this
process.
okay, so this close will come when everything is satisfied and everyone is fine with it.
The closure won't be too early. It ideally takes it may
Okay,
take 3 years, it may take 4 years, depending on how your
okay,
product is doing in your market.
okay, okay. Okay.
So possibly what you could do, if you are phasing out a particular functionality, so what happens is, like, if you are working in a particular product based company, so their product keeps on growing, but certainly they have a, kind of checkpoints, or they may be saying it as a quality gate. So you need to close that particular gate once in every year, and then you can start with the new fresh set of functionality. That also you can do, but it is a complex thing. This is
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Thank you. Mohit, I've made you the present. Sundar, Pradeep, I've made you the present.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we presented business case, and now next we'll move to business requirement. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, Mohit, do you want to take?
Hi, Sunil.
Hi.
Sorry, yeah. So, so in the Pradeep, you continue sharing your screen only, so I'll just go through it. So, in this, like, we start with the introduction, like, wherein we have the project summary and what we exactly want to do. Like, want to create an online website for it, which will support what sort of payment gateway.
Mhm.
And then we gave a background of the project, wherein like why the necessity, why the scope is there for this website.
Mhm.
uh, we have some business drivers, and then the project scope as like what is in scope functionality would majorly focus around like stating what will be included, and in the same time at the same time stating what is would not be included in the project,
Mhm.
and what will not be in the scope. um, we specified like one of the out of scope functionality, which will be search feature, like the automatic search feature that we have option we used to have, which we have in the website, so that won't be there in this project. um, and we certain assumptions that we made, and certain constraints that we have, and we also discuss the risk, like what will be the risk that we can face uh, during this, and how we're going to mitigate it.
Mhm.
If we have some, what is the strategy to mitigate that risk? Pradeep, if you
Okay.
can scroll down. Uh, then we designed the business process overview. As is, we didn't have the model asset because the website didn't exist, but we documented it as stating that how the current process goes through middle agents and being involved in the process. And we described the 2B process, wherein we built a model using uh, lucid charts, and like and if we like how the process will go after we have the system in place.
Mhm.
Pradeep, scroll down. And the business requirements that we've given, we have given like different rating to depending on the criticality of and the severity of that rating of the requirements,
Okay.
and we'll be prioritizing it according to that. And different, like we have all these requirements that are like jotted down over here.
Mhm.
And then again, security requirements that the payment should be secure, and then like yes, other requirements, audit requirements, like such as we'll be keeping track of the website.
Okay.
And then we have the use case diagram for for the system,
Mm-hmm.
and then the non-functional requirements.
Well, actually, non-functional requirements everything being captured clearly in the SRS, which will explain you.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So few things over here. Okay, you want to explain anything more?
No, no, Oscar, you can.
Okay. Go to that out of scope section. Okay. So why do you think search functionality would be out of scope here?
Uh, it was not like as we didn't like think as such about it, but the thing is, they just for as an example, like what one thing that won't be which was mutually described not to be in the project,
Mm-hmm.
which maybe the business thinks that is not required at this moment.
Okay.
And also, I did some research. Like I checked a couple of insurance websites. I didn't see much of like search option like other websites. They directly have like this done in the back of the you go and start the but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why they didn't have a search option.
Okay, so when your credentials are created inside that insurance system, and let's say you are entering into that particular system and you hold multiple policies, like one policy for your auto, one policy for your home insurance, one policy for your any personal belonging insurance. Don't you think you would be needing a search functionality wherein you should be able to search with your policy ID? Or for that matter, you have created a code and this code doesn't exist in the system every time. So let's say in a particular process, this code you have created today, and after 1 month you are searching this particular code, but the system won't give you that particular result because this codes which you are creating temporarily, they are stored only for 15 days, because that would be a lot of wastage for insurance company. So they have a life cycle of 15 to 20 days. So in that case, I feel you should be having search feature, but let's go by your assumption. Anything you had to assume,
Also,
so that's fine.
Sunil, so the case was over here. What we thought of was for the code, it will be sent to the user by email because user doesn't need to create a profile,
Mm-hmm.
create a login actually for getting the code. And we did that based on like research on other websites or other like current insurance products
Mm-hmm.
available in the market on that are online.
Okay.
Also, other feature regarding like when you told about the policy details and everything, we kept the feature like within like once the user logs in, he'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to see the account details like his existing policies and other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be in the account details of the user after the user logs in.
Okay, so you can, what I could see is it is giving a generic sense over here. Search feature means you are eliminating everything. You have to specify which particular search feature. So let's say you are subscribing for a recurring policy wherein you are billed every month. So you want to search a particular invoice. So in that case, you would be needing a search feature. So what you have mentioned here is search feature. So it is giving that generic sense. No search feature would be there. You have to specify which
Okay,
search feature.
okay, okay. Yeah. So our sense in this search feature was like once you visit the website, you
Mm-hmm.
can search for a product by putting its name over there.
Okay,
So
so
like
you
for
can
example, I'm putting
specify
it
it.
auto. Okay,
What is this particular search feature? Rest, it's
okay,
fine. Okay, now go to that as is section. Okay, so why do you think there won't be any as is model over here?
So you mean the representation or the because as it was there, like currently they're using agency and paperwork
Mm-hmm.
can we do we have to make a model of that too, like
Yes, absolutely. That is our business problem. As this model would always exist, irrespective you are creating a new system, you have to refer to their existing legacy process. So as this model, you cannot eliminate it. That's the heart of your BRD.
Okay, so whatever the process, there should be a model
Yes,
existing.
maybe therein you could show that where is exactly the agency sits, agency as in the agent sits, and how you are eliminating, which you have documented in 2B model. There you have to show what is the role of agent at this point of time, which they are trying to mitigate it.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, now go to that requirement list section. Here, requirements list. Yeah, just wait. Use case reference, why it is blank over here? You would be having some use case ID.
We actually made use case, but we did not put it in the BRD. We actually put it separate.
Yeah, but an ID would be there, no? So that you could link it with the BRD, the traceability part.
So this, okay, we will show you the use case.
Okay, so that's the feedback I had for this BRD. You can go with other document.
We have a business analysis approach plan.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a simple template, which how we are starting. So I kind of did reference of other existing approach plans.
Okay.
So with this, we are going to follow all the rules stated by Ramon,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going to follow Agile plan. And for particular plans, there are two types. We are actually using change approach.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start the project, and whenever we are going to change it to side by side.
Okay.
We're going to document the complete process. So this is the approach we have started, and we've given things like how we are going to do this, like basically all the
Okay.
data data
Mm-hmm.
so we're going to complete how we are. So this is our approach. Life cycle, give a sample diagram, deliverable starts. Like, we didn't exactly identify on the. We actually kind of identified stakeholders, but this template, I don't know like how what approach for deliverables we have. So I don't really. I just left the whole thing in the template.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question in this part. Like, so is this there like is this like a repository or something that we click this the specific documentation or it's just the title?
It again depends actually. If you are handling the BA approach via system, then the way we did in Confluence, that is how it works. So when you click on that particular thing, it would open it up. Or if you are doing it manually like you are doing, then there it would be a separate template that you have to use.
Okay. So based on which we are using, we attach all the documents and all. I will be getting the
Yes, and ideally in any XYZ case, you would be doing all this activities via your tools. It won't be a manual activity.
okay, so mainly this document is going to talk about like what approach we can get for the
Mhm. Okay.
um, I created a stakeholder communication plan actually.
Mhm.
Some sections we assumed like if like we have given all the so this is basically the name of the stakeholders
Okay.
and we have given all the roles like who's going to be a part of like this plan
Mhm.
and we identified few stakeholders and there should be more of this.
Mhm.
So roles uh, define like what they actually what is their role in the current process like project manager is going to give us the statement of work, like, marking, priority.
Mm-hmm.
But this one section we understand like what information is we will need to know. Like, how do we don't have experience, so how do we like can you give us some examples like how we should control the information passing to people in the hierarchy?
Okay, so which column you are talking about? Communication needs column.
The
Okay, so it again depends on what is their need for with respect to this particular project. For example, a project sponsor. So he would definitely advocate the project requirements, but at the same time, he should also be informed about the project progress as well, the project progress report. After that, the weekly status, then monthly meetings, those kind of sorts, and whatever artifacts that you are presenting as a business analyst. So let's say you are working as a business analyst and your project sponsor wants you to keep him updated about your progress. So how you would keep him updated? He do not have that much time to go to a particular tool like Jira, which you might be using, and pull out a report and create a dashboard for himself. So that is something you have to do as a business analyst. So you would be creating a presentation or PPT kind of document wherein on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis you have to show them what is the status of your requirement gathering activity. So those are some of the artifacts that you would be presenting to your project sponsor, so basis on their particular need. Now when it comes to product owner, uh, product backlog updates, sprint cycle. What is sprint cycle? Okay, sprint cycle, product backlog updates. Okay, and what about new requirements that should be coming in into that particular backlog? That is also your artifacts progress that you are updating. Along with that, the challenges also you have to mention it, because when you are writing user stories, you would be facing some challenges. So you can update your product owner about those challenges.
the product owner is going to come only during the scrum part, right? Like on the
Officially, yes.
basically the
Formally, yes, he would be coming to the Scrum meeting. But after the Scrum ceremonies, if you exclude the Scrum ceremony part, the 4 Scrum ceremony part, he is always available for you as a business analyst. You can ask him question at any point of time.
so this product owner is also a business
Uh, it's not like a business analyst, but he knows the product very well.
analyst. Okay. So this we kind of discussed and we got made a stakeholder communication. So do you have any other feedback for this or
No, that is fine.
okay then we'll move on to the next topic. Sort of, so next we created a business analysis communication.
Okay.
So in this like we have given activities, what all the major activities we want to run, like what is the purpose of communication,
Mm-hmm.
in scope, out scope, which is going to be an announcement or update change, and we kind of covered all the audiences who will be part of this activity, like who will be getting frequent updates,
Mm-hmm.
and in the when we again switch phase of the life cycle,
Mm-hmm.
like given a delivery method, like what we want to do. Mostly it's going to be like emails and during Zoom meetings and presentation methods.
Mm-hmm.
We can give methods like verbal is kind of like during meeting or if we even first when we talk discuss updates, that's going to be verbal. Visual, it's either going to be to the artifacts or the presentation meetings where everyone will be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the document, for example, if we are in tools, there is no document in formats we are updating it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be using the tools in which everybody will have access to all the and we have defined the level of formality.
Okay.
And we don't understand where, like, what do you think is where?
So where as in will it be a face-to-face meeting or will it be a Skype call or will it be a conference call? You have to mention that.
But that is covered in
Presentation method do not specifically define the tool which you would be using for communication. So where is like it gives both the flexibility. If it's a face-to-face meeting, you would mention the meeting room name. And if it is a online meeting, then you have to mention whether it's a Skype meeting or GoToMeeting or whatever it is. So that is where.
So
Sunil, is it like important to be filled in at this time only, or it can be to be assigned later or to be decided later?
It can be decided later as well, but for documentation purpose, you have to keep it where this meeting was conducted.
Okay. So basically, communication plan also you have to. Will it be part of the minutes maybe of the meeting, or during we have to update this communication plan as well according to the meeting?
It has to be in sync because at a later point of time, if the stakeholder asks you when this meeting happened, then you have to refer this communication plan. You cannot check your email.
Okay, right.
this is the information of communication from business analyst. So we
Okay,
move on to the next one.
okay.
And we've created a sample recurring presentation. We actually access this many templates and this kind of
Mm-hmm.
so this in this we have given like how all this business is document BRD, FSD, and test case documents are handled.
Mm-hmm.
So from the BRD we extracted this business requirement ID number we gave and also the rest of which use case.
Mm-hmm.
And from the function FSD we will be talking about the text. In that we have given all the functional requirements and way of ID and the priority and we linked it with the test case ID. That based on the user stories and also the test case we would get records.
Okay,
So this is the format we follow. This one is
okay.
this is my pick.
Yeah,
So this is our RP. Next we'll move on to SR software research. In this we are completely talking about our function non-function requirements. Actually,
Yes, I can do that. That's fine. Okay, so uh, this this is table of contents basic thing. I used your template itself that you provided on the
mm-hmm.
website. So the purpose and all is the basic that we used, and the purpose actually in this purpose it mentions why we created this software requirement specification document and why we need it and all that. Uh, the intended audiences who will be using this document basically, like who can refer to this document, who project scope will be explaining what's the scope of this project and where it can be, like what is a part of this project basically.
Okay,
References I didn't use because I used your template and I just wrote according to the explanations and the things you have given, so I didn't mention any references like that.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Product perspective, it's basically explaining what the product is. So it's a website, a portal that we are going to make to remove the third parties agents so that we can have a cost reduced efficient system to provide the insurance to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the product features and perspective. Operating environment, I was not so sure, so I put in some basic, like it's a website, so I assume that we can mention like which browsers it is compatible with and what versions of the browsers or what operating systems it might be
Mm-hmm.
needing. And design and implementation constraints is also like you need basic hardware requirements, software requirements, and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and what the design, like basically what language you might be using and stuff.
Okay.
User documentation is something that we'll be providing to the user, maybe a manual or some document or a help section or something where he can understand the functioning of a website.
Okay.
Its system features are all the use cases that we created in other files. So I just copy pasted the use case and wrote the functional requirements from that particular use case in the below. Like the first one is login registration of a new customer. So the function requirements can be like he the customer should have a registration page. He should be able to log in properly. We should able to validate the information in the forms that the user is providing, and we can successfully redirect after login to the quoting page or a page where he can go for the quoting details
Okay.
for the insurance. And that's all the system. We have described few of those, and then after that it is non-functional requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Can you Okay. Oh, yeah. So in your document, we had this section before a non-functional external interface requirement. So I didn't actually get much of it, but I looked into online and I found few different versions of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the maximum thing like? What was most common that I found I used as in this template? It was like user interfaces. They particularly mentioned that what they will be using to work as user interface, like front end development languages and things. So I use Java Spring and SQL for the database stuff. Hardware will be what kind of operating system the project will be working on or everyone will be using is we use Windows, and a browser that supports basic graphic interface and HTML and JavaScript to run the application.
Mm-hmm.
And the software interfaces is like what should the software have and what is all like software going to use, like software will use bill pay, like something to for the payment, third party payment gateway method, and it will provide support to a CRM system or will manage the content through CMS and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for documentation and signing of verification, there is a software like VeriSign we can use, which can use for security purposes.
Okay.
And communication interfaces, it's HTTP protocol that's being used to maintain the communication like between the browser and the server. And other non-functional requirements like performance requirement, how it will perform if it is under this much pressure and it should accommodate this many users at the same time, concurrency and all.
Mm-hmm.
Safety requirements will be the data, the safety, like the security between the server and the data where it is maintained. Every data should be secured and safe. It shouldn't fall into the wrong hands because it will have important details like SSN or maybe person's income and everything. So we need to maintain and keep the data as safe as we can. So everything that is mentioned is here. Portability requirement is like the application should be portable in a way that it should work as a standalone in any web browser. It shouldn't be like it's working in Google Chrome, but it won't work in Mozilla Firefox because you never know where your audience is intended, where your user is targeted. So it should be portable to each and every web browser with basic requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And other things are like software quality attributes, the availability. The product should be available at any time and any date. Like it shouldn't go, even if it's in a maintenance phase, it should be very in for a less time. It should be in a time where there's less users, and the codes and the data that is provided on the website should be correct to up to date with the laws and the regulation because they keep changing. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. So where are the process flows and UI screens?
UI screens. Okay. We put in this because I didn't find a section dedicated to it. There's other like yeah. Here they have put
Yeah,
the
it
UI
should
screens
go
or
into
prototypes.
your functional spec as well.
Okay. Okay. So we put that into the system requirement section.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
this is
No,
a
no.
prototype state.
When you would be putting this UI screen into your functional spec, so every section has a certain functionality. Go to your functional specification doc. So go to that login requirement section wherein you have mentioned about the login system. Yes. So your first UI screen would start with a particular UI screen. Under 3.1, it should always start with the UI screen. Then all your description would go on below it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we did, yeah. Okay.
So for every section, you
We
would be first starting with the UI screen, like get quotation dashboard,
okay.
the UI screen, and then all this description.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
I can assume that like an assignment require wired encoding separately, so this
Mhm.
created a
Not an issue, but this is the ideal way you should be putting it.
okay.
Okay.
So that will be with the user stories, and we captured a couple of user stories and epic splitter and we had features and road accidents that get on the so we actually kind of documented the work because there's no specific format.
Okay.
So this is like all the user stories and accidents.
Mhm.
Is it okay?
Okay, show me your epic for our community of insurance consumer who wants to purchase insurance quote through website application. Send on epic as a mechanism for the customer's internal security. That will allow valid insurance hypothesis. Okay, feature is sign in for user, benefit registered user, password reset, creating an account, insurance code calculation, payment okay, user story as a user. I want to see the welcome screen on the page so that it adds to brand image in front of the user options. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so we just used the features that you mentioned in the requirements in the project work. We didn't think much about extra things. We just took the basic things we wanted, like the quotation, the payment,
Mm-hmm.
and the login and sign up registration part.
Okay, that's fine.
Prototype PRD. So we created this prototype where this is how the initial page will look
Mm-hmm.
and what are the possible options and like simple like what all products available. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm clicking those things will go in detail. And there is a chat format here. You can start getting a list
Mm-hmm.
and you can the user can the customer can do
Mm-hmm.
and like you created using the Justin wire tool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like for we get one sample, like if you click on mobile, it's going to ask for like two samples, import ask for
Mm-hmm.
we didn't develop more than this, so we thought everything is like so crime is going to have some details. Karan actually created ERD, like how this is going to be all the options. Karan, do you want to explain?
Yeah, so this is the regulation diagram, which has the coverage and the types of covered and the registration of the
Karan, are you there? We don't hear it.
hello. So this is the basic regulation diagram. all the policy registration of the user, all the type, the insurance got, and also the attributes, policy number, the issue date, and what all it covers, and the basic data types of the vehicle and organization.
Okay.
So this will be the basic data process, like we actually kind of made this data. So now this is how the data will flow inside the
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's all from project timeline. And we also use some basic approach, like we like in the meeting that we make some drawing, we kind of gather that to make all our so one of the screenshots we want to see how we started building ideas.
Okay.
So that will be for it. And I think we have covered almost most of the everything. Achal, can you confirm, like, are they missing anything
I guess Pradeep, the use case document.
or use case? Yeah, use cases we started writing and we actually added this on the governance needed use cases.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it the one thing we missed is we missed the screen protection. Other than that, I think we covered everything.
Okay. Did you create the data dictionary?
Yes, Achal actually.
Yes, yes.
Did you send it to me, Achal?
Yeah, I mailed it to you. Yeah, so I created two. Actually, till my knowledge, I know that we used to create, like, I created few in my undergrad. So we used to take all the database tables and put it into data dictionary actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I created from the screen prototypes and all that. I created two tables, basically user details that we will be creating from the customer-wide registration part, and all the product table
Mm-hmm.
uh, data dictionaries. So the basic thing is like what all we'll get from the user, and user ID will be used as a primary key because each table needs to have one primary key,
Okay.
and all the other basic information that we need from the user. If the field can have null value or not, so we use that, and we use the size and the data type for this.
Mm-hmm.
And down we have used a simple table for another table for products, like how you can put your products, like different kind of insurances. Pradeep, if
Okay.
you can go below, scroll. So here it will be like basic details and the name of the products, just like we'll be explaining if what product is, like if for example, insurance is a property insurance, that what is property insurance and basic details, and we can just add it into the website.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing.
Just hang on for a second. Name is a varchar. Why are you giving 1000 as size? Wasting
I
memory.
just put, yeah, actually I was confused in using even varchar. I was not sure. I wanted to ask if we can, it's better to use n varchar instead of varchar when you are not sure about the sizes.
See, NVarchar essentially supports your Unicode characters. So let's say you have a font in
Okay,
Hindi or Chinese. It supports those
okay,
characters. So it has nothing
okay.
related to, size constraint as such. But
Okay,
ideally
varchar
does
itself has.
Yeah, ideally it should not exceed more than 80. And again,
Okay.
if you are coming to photos, photos do not have a size as WebCam.
Yeah. It was my mistake here. In above table, I didn't put the size.
Yeah,
Yeah, it did.
it should be
Yeah,
blob,
it was.
something of that
Yeah.
size.
No, oh, I put here also. Yeah. Yeah, okay. But photo might have a link, right? So link doesn't need a size. That's what I was concerned about.
See,
We have a image
photos,
source link.
yeah, image source can be there, but in that also it would be treated as object. In that context, the data type would be blob again.
Okay. I was not so sure about it. So I assumed that we use a link, so I put a varchar and a
Yes, the
size.
XMLs, the links, the photos, the videos, the music files, any documents that you store, all under should go under data type blob because they are treated as
Blob.
objects. BLOB.
Okay. Okay, blob. Okay. Thank you.
Rest it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we covered all the major requirements. Like initially we got confused when we started working on the project because the thought one, but then we tried to catch up with the
Hmm.
one thing I started working and I couldn't finish was like business rules that I couldn't capture completely. So I kind of stopped because like you know I couldn't find any samples of like how to start business rules. Like if you can like explain that, that'll be because there's a lot of business rules. Like I don't know how to capture exactly how to ensure.
So simple business rule in this case would be entering incorrect credential. So how the system would be restricting it, or entering an incorrect credit card details, or your account do not have sufficient fund. So in that context, how the system would behave. So these are some of the business rules you could capture. So business rules are nothing but your plain template, plain sentences, and you have to specify under what circumstances those business rules would get executed. For example, when a user enters incorrect credit card details, so the system would restrict the user from further processing of that particular screen.
Okay, so no, okay, I actually thought business rules means that like how they have to comply or the company.
Yes. Compliance thing are also part of business rules. Depending on the requirement you are addressing, the business rule would be in accordance to that requirement. So if you are dealing with system requirements, then the example which I gave you would stand good over there. If you are coming to the business side in insurance domain, so in insurance domain, if you are dealing with, then you would be having that violation functionality or address validation functionality, or for that matter limits that you are want to take in that particular policy, those functionality. So those would be driven by your insurance business specific business rule. In addition to that, there would be compliance specific business rules which would come from your regulatory body. For example, if you are issuing a particular insurance policy, then an application supplement should be attached with that insurance policy, which would come from the accord side, which is your ISO office.
Okay, so these all okay, we mentioned this in the
Yes.
which so I think that will be the presentation. Like we have any other questions?
No, that's fine. Given the timeline and the scope, the work is fine. Good job. Okay,
So
any other questions you have for me?
um, in this so so we did the software development, but we was confused like sometimes we found like so what is the like difference between FRD and SRS like, or if we did SRS which has both functional non-functional,
No, these are low level document. Whether it's FRD or FRS or SRS or DRS, they all mean the same thing. So you would be having all this document in different organization, how they address these documents. So some organization would say it as detailed requirement specification, DRS. Some would say as software requirement specification, SRS. Some would say functional requirement specification, FRS. So it's their way of how they want to notify this particular document. Ideally they mean the same thing.
That's where for
Yeah, because we thought FSD was a subset of SRS when we started working on it, because FSD, like the name suggests, functional specification document. So we thought it's only functional part of the project, not the non-functional requirements.
No, it's not like that.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Any other questions, anyone?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. So I have sent you some of the interview questions. You might have received an email from me.
Yes.
Okay. So what I want in the coming Sunday's session, you try to solve those interview questions based on the 6 parameters which I have mentioned in that email. No matter you are reading it in our session, that is absolutely fine. But try to, articulate your answers beforehand, so that, if there are any missing elements, I can guide you through. So I want you to think from an interview perspective, how you are thinking, document it. You can read it when I start asking you question. So you don't have to solve all the question. You are 4 people. So divide 25 questions each and start answering those questions or writing those questions answer.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sunil, but the thing is, like, we have sort of like different projects, all of us that we have. So we won't be able to relate it if we are like dividing the questions as such.
No, you discuss it among
So,
yourself. You are free to discuss, but I want while solving, you can divide it. If you can solve all the 100 question, I am more than happy to review it.
okay,
I just
fine.
wanted to, reduce your time frame, because it's not feasible to solve all the 100 question by a individual. So it's up to you how
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to take it up, but you have to solve it first.